At 3:17, my phone buzzed with a calendar invite from something I had just made up. 2 hours before that, I was on my kitchen floor, bored, half a beer in, chalk dust on my hands. I'd found some thread about favor engines and dares. Draw a little sigil, heat a coin till it smells like burnt metal, say a dumb line, wait. I'd broken up with Mia last month and I was sleeping weird. I was doing stupid stuff to feel anything. I drew the mark on the linoleum, held a quarter with a lighter till it stung, held it to my forehead, and said, "If anyone's listening, I owe you one." Then I laughed at myself and went back to scrolling. At 3:17, the invite popped up. It had a title, A Small Favor. It had 4 events stacked in the next 3 hours, each with an exact time down to the minute. There were rules in the notes. I thought it was a prank until the smell hit me again, sharp and hot, like pennies in a toaster, and a cold draft blew under the cabinets. I stared at the first line. Deliver the envelope to the door with no handle at 28 Myrtle. 3:44. Do not open it. Do not be late. Keep the coin on you at all times. Do not speak of me to anyone who has not asked you for a favor. You're kidding, I said to my empty kitchen. Another notification. A text from a number that didn't show digits. Just a blank gray bubble that said, "You asked." It's small. I'll leave when it's done. Thank you, Evan. Only Mia called me Evan. Everyone else said EV. I swallowed. My phone vibrated again. Another text. Don't worry about the door. You'll see it. Keep the coin. I pinched the quarter off the table. It was still warm. How do you know I stopped. I told myself I was half asleep. I told myself I wanted to see how the trick worked. I found an envelope on the counter I swear wasn't there. Cream paper. No stamp. No writing. Thin, like it held a single sheet. I grabbed my hoodie and keys and went out at 3:33. The hallway felt colder than the night outside. Dust moved in the air like it had its own breath. I kept checking my phone. 3:38. 3:41. The time ticked perfectly. I didn't know 28 Myrtle had an alley. It did. I wouldn't have ever walked down it if I didn't have the instructions. The door was in the middle of the brick like someone stuck it there as a joke. No knob. No plate. Cheap peephole. Fresh paint. My breath made a cloud. When I got close, the burnt metal smell came back stronger. Knock, knock, I said, quietly, like I was talking to a stray dog. Nothing answered. I crouched and slid the envelope under. It caught. Something tugged from the other side. Then the edge vanished. I started to get up. The temperature dropped so fast my teeth clicked. I swear a whisper came through the crack where the light didn't reach. On time, it said. Polite. I stepped back. I looked at my phone. 3:44 on the dot. I didn't run, but I walked fast, head down, both hands in my hoodie pocket. The coin felt heavier than it should. When I turned the corner, it was 3:59, and my fingers were numb, and somewhere behind me a door closed that shouldn't have been able to. Back in my apartment, the chalk sigil looked dumb again, but my phone dinged with the next event in the calendar. 4:22. Speak the phrase, "I carry your balance," through the peephole of 118 Pine, apartment 9B. Do not look through the peephole. I called it a prank again, even as my hands shook. I put the coin on my tongue and tasted the burn like I'd licked a battery. I took it out. I paced. Abby texted me at 4:03. You up? I typed back, yeah, why? But my app hung, then flickered. Next to her message, a little gray Delivered 312, showed up like time was misfiled. Then it didn't turn to read. I stared at that for a while. It felt wrong, like someone else was holding my phone. I decided not to go. At 4:10, I found a banishing thing on the same forum. Chalk circle. Salt. You say the line backward. You snuff a candle with your fingers. I did the whole dumb theater. The candle went out. The room smelled like a firecracker. My phone screen went black, then lit up to 416, then to 417. Somewhere against the far wall, a knuckle rapped the plaster 3 times. No one lived next door. The radiator hissed. The calendar invite jumped to the top of the screen again, bright red. Event. Speak the phrase. 422. A new text. The debt resets when you refuse. It's okay. Small steps. Don't be late. Who are you? I said. I wasn't yelling. It came out quiet. What debt? I was kidding. It was a joke. Another draft slid across my ankles. The chalk circle smudged without anything touching it. I grabbed my jacket and went, because I wanted it over, and because the number 420 on my phone made my heart pound like I was late for a flight. 118 Pine was one of those old buildings with rusted mailboxes and flyers for a dog walker in the lobby. I took the stairs 2 at a time. On 9, I stood in front of B and felt dumb again. I knocked. No answer. I put my mouth near the peephole and said it. I carry your balance. Somewhere inside the unit, a latch clicked. My breath fogged the brass. The rule said don't look. I looked. It wasn't even a full look. It was a glance. An eye on the other side was already looking back, empty and wet and much too still. I jerked back. Suddenly my face felt hot, and then I was bleeding from the nose like I'd been hit. Blood ran down my lip. It tasted like the coin. I wiped it on my sleeve and left. As I was leaving, a baby cried in one of the other apartments. A woman said, "Shh," sleepy and annoyed, and then it turned into coughing, and then into a wail that made me grip the rail, because it sounded like someone who doesn't understand why pain does not stop. On the sidewalk, my phone said 422. I checked it again on the corner, and it said 428. I didn't remember walking. My legs just did it. My head buzzed. I wouldn't say a panic attack. Something like a power line humming too close. I threw the coin into the storm drain. I did it without thinking. My hand just opened. The quarter hit the grate, and then it was gone. Everything went wrong at once. The streetlight above me flickered. The phone froze with my home screen half drawn. For a second it showed 333 again. Then it made the worst noise, a high squeal like a dial-up tone through a speaker. I could smell burnt metal so strong my eyes watered. When the phone unfroze, there was an unread message in notes that I hadn't written. My own login. One line. Debt resets. I looked at my other hand. The coin was in it. I hadn't reached down. I hadn't picked anything up. It was just there, warm, like I'd been holding it the whole time. "Okay," I said to nobody. "Okay. Okay." I walked home fast. I called Marco on the way, because he once told me he did ghost stuff in high school, and that was better than calling my mom. "Can you come over?" I said. "Please just come over." "What, now?" Marco said. He sounded like he was eating. "It's like 4. "Now," I said. "I'm screwing something up." He came. He looked at the chalk sigil on my floor and laughed. "You doing art?" "Don't touch it," I said. He smirked and touched it with one toe. He yelped and jumped back. Jesus! Hot! He sucked his teeth. The burnt smell filled the kitchen like someone left an iron face down. He flexed his fingers. They were pink, but not blistered. A text chimed from the blank number. Please don't involve the unindebted. It pays them. What was that? Marco said. Who is that? Are you screwing with me? He took out his phone to film. The screen glitched. He frowned and hit the side of it. My messages just dumped. Marco, go home, I said. I shouldn't have called him. I'm serious. Dude, he started, but then his nose started to bleed too, a thin line down to his lip. He wiped it with the back of his hand, and there was that smell again. What the hell, man? Go, I said. He left without saying bye. Later, when I checked, the texts I sent him all said, delivered 5:05 and never read. I tried to report the door with no handle. There's a hazard, I told the dispatcher. 28 Myrtle. Illegal construction. The cops showed up and looked at me like I was high. I took them down the alley. There was nothing. Brick, a tagged dumpster, a wet newspaper. My phone locked itself for 44 seconds and refused my thumb. When it opened, the calendar's third event lit up. 5:01. Carry the coin into the chapel at St. Luke's. Keep it in your mouth until you leave. The idea of putting it in my mouth made me gag. The edge of the coin had cut my tongue when I dropped it earlier. I could taste copper already. I thought about ignoring it. I thought about breaking more rules and seeing if I could break all of it. Another text came right then. If you default, we collect the balance elsewhere. Abby is working at 6 o'clock. I almost called Abby before I saw the second message. With the timestamp right under it, 4:49. It said her full last name, the one she hated, and her shift, and what floor she was on. Nobody knew that. Her supervisor barely texted. I kept the coin under my tongue and I drove to St. Luke's on instinct. I parked without remembering where. The air in the lobby had that cold, clean hospital bite. My teeth hurt from the chill. Overhead, the speaker crackled. Code Blue. NICU. Code Blue. I stopped dead. The chapel was on the first floor off a side hall. No one was in it. A nurse walked by without looking at me. I stood in the doorway with my mouth closed and the coin burning the underside of my tongue and tears stinging my eyes for no good reason. My phone buzzed in my pocket. 5:01 ticked to 5:03 in measured seconds. I swallowed and choked and kept it in. When I stepped back out, my knees shook. I spit the coin into my hand behind a fake ficus and wiped my mouth on my sleeve. The burnt taste lingered. In the reflection on the chapel glass, my face looked gray. A text from Abby showed up right then, even though we hadn't been talking. Weird spike in NICU, she wrote. Where are you? You still up? I didn't answer. I didn't want to type on the same phone doing all this. I went home. The sun wasn't up yet, but the sky had that pale edge. I thought about getting in the car and driving somewhere dumb, like the coast, like you can outrun it if tires are fast enough. I thought about walking into the ER and telling them take it out. I swallowed a bad thing. I sat on my couch and watched the last event jump from gray to red. 5:44. Place the mark under a stranger's doormat. Use chalk. Just one line. You've done great. Thank you. I said out loud, I'm not doing it. My voice shook. No. An answer, seconds later. If you refuse, we collect the balance. Immediate. It included an address. My sister's street. Her door number. I could see her place in my head. Her welcome mat with the faded hello. The draft from her ancient windows. She texted a photo of it last month with a cat sitting on it, and I'd told her to get a new one. The photo was still in our thread. I opened it without meaning to. Next to it, delivered 5:42. No read. I stood up so fast, I knocked over the coffee table. I grabbed the chalk from beside the sigil and a Sharpie and tape because I didn't have a better idea. If the rule said stranger, I couldn't do my door. That would reset it again, and then at 5:44 I'd be back here at the same choice. I tried to call the number. It didn't ring. It didn't connect. It made the dial-up sound again. I hung up. I did something stupid. I took the chalk and I drew the mark under my own mat anyway, in my building. Right there. Fast. A little hooked line like the one I'd drawn on the kitchen floor, but simpler. "Take me," I said to the empty stairwell. "Pay me." The second I lifted my hand, the chalk scraped on concrete and the burnt metal smell filled my throat and I gagged. My phone went black and then lit with a new event I hadn't seen. 5:59. Speak the name at a sealed place. I didn't recognize the name at first. It wasn't letters so much as it was letters that were wrong, like autocorrect was tired. But I knew what it was. I'd seen pieces of it all night in the junk between the lines, in the way Abby's texts stamped weird times, in the first letters of the calendar notes, in the smell in my teeth. I won't write it here. Saying it is enough. I understood something then. The 4 small steps weren't errands. They were load-bearing parts. The door with no handle. The peephole. The coin in the chapel. The chalk under a mat. They were teaching my mouth and my hands exactly what to do. Put breath at a sealed thing. Put a word through an aperture. Carry weight into a place where names have hooks. Mark a threshold so it knows where to land when it clears. If a living mouth says the name into a sealed place, it goes free. If I refused, they'd take Abby as the place instead. I grabbed duct tape and ran to the super's closet and took a strip and sealed my bathroom door shut because it was the only thing in my apartment that could be called sealed if you squinted. I shoved a towel under it. I took the coin between my teeth until it cut the gum. My hands shook. It was 5:56. I hadn't asked anyone for help because anyone else would owe. That was the rule I finally believed. I went into the bathroom, closed the door, sealed myself in. It was cold enough that the mirror fogged. I drew the little line on the inside of the door at the base. The chalk snapped. I used the broken piece. My mouth hurt. The coin tasted like I'd bitten foil. I took the tape and ran a piece over my own welcome mat in the hall, not to stop anyone, but because I needed the pattern, like a belt on a door. I said, to the air, "On me. Balance on me. Paid on me." My voice bounced off tile like it was in a pocket. I put my lips to the crack between the door and the frame, and I said the name. The hot smell blasted me back like I'd leaned over a grill. Pain shot through my teeth like a fork stuck in an outlet. There was a rush of air from the hall that shoved under the door and into my mouth and chest and down my throat. It didn't feel like possession. It felt like a rope getting knotted to a hook. I tasted blood and something else, a tang that wasn't mine. The lights flickered. In the living room, my phone buzzed and pinged again like someone was sending 400 emails at once. I didn't pass out. I wanted to. Tears ran hot without me meaning to cry. Then it stopped. The duct tape fluttered. The air went flat. The coin clicked against my teeth and dropped into the sink on its own. It was black now, as if it had been in a fire. My tongue throbbed. I spit red and blinked at the mirror, and didn't recognize my own mouth for a second because the corners were split like I'd smiled too wide for too long. A text came through from Abby. Read 601. All good. He stabilized. You okay? I sat on the toilet lid with my hands on my knees and let my head hang. I laughed once, ugly and short, because the release of it, the stupid animal relief, felt like a hiccup. Then the calendar dinged. A new series of events populated, one after the other, with times and addresses, not all in one night, some a week out, some at odd hours. The title at the top said, Outstanding Favors. Underneath, small notes. Maintain sealed place. Keep coin. Mark thresholds as needed. Do not involve the unindebted. Thank you. Something moved on the other side of my bathroom door. A soft shift like someone adjusting their weight to be comfortable. Not in the room. In the place I'd made by accident by calling it to me. The draft slid under the towel like a passing hand. Paid in full, the same polite voice said, right at my ear and somehow not in the air. Thank you. I hate you, I said. I said it without heat. I sounded tired to myself. You asked, it said. Calm. Almost kind. It's small. I will leave when the ledger's clear. I untaped the door and stepped out. The apartment felt like a freezer no matter what I did to the thermostat. The chalk mark under my own mat looked stupid and bright. The coin in the sink was the color of the bottom of a kettle. I picked it up and put it back under my tongue without thinking too hard about why. It tasted like a mouthful of pennies and something sweet that wasn't sweet. I texted Abby back. I'm fine. Sleep. 2 of my earlier messages to her changed then from delivered to read with old timestamps. 3:12. 5:42. It made my skin crawl watching the little gray text flip to blue like that. Somewhere in the floorboards, or the wall, or the sealed seam I had made of my own damned door, something settled in like a roommate. I wish I had a smarter ending. I wish I could tell you I found a way to crush it with a loophole that didn't cost me anything. That's not how it works. Debt for favor. Balance carried. You learn the rules or the rules teach you. I still get the invites. They're polite. Specific. They smell like burnt wire. I do them as slow as I can, and I do them right, because when I tried to cheat, Marco bled and Abby almost lost something I don't even understand. If you're going to draw a chalk thing on your floor at 1 a.m., because you're lonely and you want to feel like a story is watching you, don't. If you already did, keep your mouth shut around holes and doors, and don't say yes unless you mean it. It's 2:22 as I'm typing this. The draft that lives here tickles my ankle like a cat sometimes. The coin is warm against my teeth. My next favor is at 3:44, and it's small. They always are, until they aren't. Hey, I hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, make sure to subscribe and leave a like. It really helps the channel. And if you're not too scared yet, check out one of the other stories waiting for you. See you in the next one.